Hey guys, so I have a crazy story for you guys that I've never shared on the internet before. So like the story starts from when I was young and it goes until like last week. So that's how long the story is. It's such a long time span, but I'm gonna try and fit it into as short of a video as I can. So like, okay, in my neighborhood we have this one person in the neighborhood who's in charge of everything, like sending emails and making the monthly block party, and that person was my dad. And like we called this person the king of the neighborhood, or the queen if they were a girl, but in this case it was my dad, so my dad was the king. So my dad was always like really busy with like his day job and also like working on stuff for the neighborhood, so like I had a lot of like free time and like wasn't always chaperoned by my dad. But sometimes my dad would like send his friend to chaperone me because his friend was like less busy, and that was always like super annoying. Anyway, I'll go back to that like later in the video. So there was this neighbor girl that I had like kind of a crush on when I was younger, and she was like really smoking hot, like so hot. So like one day, like me and her were just like hanging out, and my dad sent his friend out to chaperone us. He was being like super annoying, so we ditched him when he wasn't looking. So her and I were trying to find something to do, and since like I wasn't chaperoning us anymore, we could pretty much do whatever we wanted. So we decided, let's go to a different neighborhood. And there's this one neighborhood in my city that my dad like warned me not to go to because it's like really shady or something. But my friend like wanted to go there, and since she's so like beautiful and hot and sexy, like obviously I was gonna like do what she wanted. I had to impress her. So we went to this neighborhood and we just like walked around for a little bit. It was like all good, you know, nothing bad was happening. But then suddenly these three adults like came up to us, and it was two guys and one girl, and like one of the guys was like kind of like off. I think he was on like some kind of drugs or something. The guy and the girl were like sober, and I think they were in a relationship. It was like really kind of cute. They were cute together, and I think they were just like kind of taking care of their friend who was like on drugs, so it was like really sweet of them. So anyway, these three people came up to us and they like tried to jump us. I literally got jumped. But then all of a sudden my dad like showed up, and I think like his friend like told him that we left. So my dad like showed up in his car and he picked us up before anything bad happened. So then my dad like dropped off my friend, and he gave me like a lecture about like how I shouldn't like go to that neighborhood or whatever, and I was like, you know, blah whatever. Okay, so anyway, like a few days later my uncle like wanted to hang out with me. Side note, my uncle like also lives in my neighborhood, which is like kind of cool but like also kind of weird. So anyway, he took me to this like really strange area that I'd never been to before, and it was like this old abandoned road in between these two mountains, and it was like actually kind of cool. And I was like really happy I got to spend some time with my uncle, because I never really get to like hang out with him that much, you know? So my uncle like thought it would be like really fun if we got my dad to hang out with us and we could like play catch or baseball or something on this abandoned road. So like my uncle like left for a minute and went to go get my dad, and then like suddenly rush hour came on the road. Like this road wasn't actually abandoned. So I was like literally thrown into traffic. It was absolutely like the scariest moment of my life. So I like quickly tried to get out of the way of these cars, but I was like invisible to them. They kept just speeding right by me. So like anyway, I managed to get on like this spot of the road where like the cars weren't gonna hit me. And then like I see my dad on top of the mountain and like with my uncle, and I was just like, what? But I was like trying to look up at him, but I could barely see anything, and I was like really needing to focus on like not getting hit by a car, so I wasn't like really paying that much attention. And then like suddenly the next thing I know, my dad's falling off the mountain and then like falls onto the road and gets hit by a bunch of cars. So like after this happened, I started bawling my eyes out because it was so scary and I was so upset. And then like the cars like stopped coming just like randomly. It was really weird. And then like I ran up to my dad like literally bawling my eyes out. I started like screaming for help, but like nobody was coming. But then like suddenly my uncle was there, and my uncle literally told me it was my fault that my dad died. Like what? So then my uncle told me to run away or else I'll go to jail, and I was literally a kid, so like obviously like I believed him. So anyway, I like ran away, and like I met up with these two adults, and they were super nice and they wanted to help me. I didn't tell them what happened because like obviously they could report me to the police and like send me to jail or something. But like they were still really nice and they wanted to help me anyway. I honestly think they were like a gay couple or something. Like I obviously didn't want to pry into their lives because like they were helping me. I didn't want to like, you know, do anything to like hurt that. And I'm not even like homophobic or anything. Like I just like, they were helping me, and like if they were gay that wouldn't matter. Like wouldn't even change that they were helping me, and I was like very appreciative. So anyway, I ended up living with these guys until I was like 18 years old. And when I was 18, I ran into my old friend from the neighborhood, you know, the one that was like super hot. And like let me tell you, she was like 10 times hotter when I saw her when she was 18. 10 times hotter. So I like asked her to go on a date with me, and she did. And when we were on the date, like the entire time she just kept asking me to go home, asking me to go back to the neighborhood. And I kept telling her that I can't do that. And then she told me the entire neighborhood thought that I was killed with my dad. So then like I realized that my uncle didn't tell them what happened because he wanted to save my ass from jail. But anyway, I was getting like super mad at her because she was getting so personal, and I was like not having it. So then she like left. And I was having like this internal battle, like if I should go back to the neighborhood and see my mom, or if I should just like stay with my like new guardians. And then suddenly this random guy comes up to me and like takes me somewhere. And he said he knew my dad, so I was like kind of interested to see where he would take me. Got there, it was like in the forest, and like it was like really weird, and I looked up in the clouds and I saw my dad. And I don't know if this is just an illusion or if this random guy drugged me, but I decided to talk to my dad. And then my dad like told me to go home, so I did. So when I got back to the old neighborhood, it literally looked like trash. Turns out, after my dad died, my uncle took over as like the king of the neighborhood, and like he did not take care of it at all. So I go home and I like, walk in my house, and then I see my uncle slap my mom in the face. Obviously I had to step in, so I started arguing with my uncle. And then things got like really ugly and we started to like actually fight. And then he like got me so good and like I literally thought I was about to die. And then suddenly my uncle tells me he was the one who threw my dad off the mountain and into the cars. So I was like, holy shit, why would you do that? So then I gained strength back and I made him tell my mom and the rest of the neighborhood what happened. And then me and like the rest of the neighborhood threw my uncle into like the forest or whatever. So then after that, my neighborhood was so happy that my uncle was gone that I became the next king. And then me and my smoking hot neighbor girl got married and we had a kid. The end. It's raining? What? Oh my god, sorry about that. I had to change. It like just started randomly raining inside my house and I got all wet. Like, does that ever happen to you guys? Like, leave a comment down below if that happens to you. So I decided to put on my like Lion King shirt. Like, now it's pretty cool. Okay guys, that was my crazy story time. If you liked it, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And leave me a comment down below if you liked me retelling the story of the Lion King. Even though it was more modern than the actual movie. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!